Okay, we're going to take a look at another special right triangle. These are 30, 60, 90 triangles. And again, the idea is we've already talked about angle-angle similarity back in chapter 8, and we already know Pythagorean theorem. So the idea is that because of angle-angle similarity, any triangle that has a 30, a 60, and a 90-degree angle, or even just a 30-90 or a 60-90, is going to have the same proportions between the small leg, the big leg, and the hypotenuse. And just to illustrate that real quick, hide myself so you see the diagram. Pythagorean theorem would say that 4 squared, the smallest leg, plus x squared, the biggest leg, has to equal the hypotenuse 8 squared. There's our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And when we go through and do that, after we subtract 16 from 64, we get 48. The square root of 48 can be broken up as 16 times 3, and the square root of 16 happens to be 4. So the ratio between the small leg and the big leg of any 30, 60, 90 triangle, instead of doing Pythagorean theorem, if I know the small leg, all I have to do is multiply it by root 3. That x has to be 4 root 3. And I don't exactly know what that is with a calculator. I could go check it, but it is something smaller than 8. I do know that. And then the ratio between the smallest leg and the hypotenuse is if I take and swing that smallest leg over, it's going to intersect that 8 at the midpoint. It is half that length of the 8. So 4 times 2 would always give me the hypotenuse, or excuse me, the small leg times 2 will always give me the hypotenuse. The hardest thing that the Khan Academies and our lessons are going to ask us to do is, okay, what if I have the hypotenuse? How do I find the small leg? Well, the opposite of multiply by 2 is divide by 2. I need a number that is half the hypotenuse. So dividing by 2 will let me get the small leg. And very similarly, if I know the biggest leg, how do I find the small leg? I'm going to have to divide by root 3 and to find the small leg. So looking at a couple Khan Academies to get that. So right now, that is the small leg. I know it's the small leg because it's opposite the 30-degree angle, the smaller angle. And then the bigger angle, the 60-degree angle, opens up to be the big leg. So I need to multiply this by root 3. So I have square root of 6 times square root of 2 times square root of 3. Square root of 2 times square root of 3, both things are inside the square root. So 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. So 6 root 6 ends up being the correct answer there. And a couple common sense things. 9, way too big. 12, way too big. And 12 root 2, way too big. Another 30, 60, 90 triangle. Right there, 30 degrees is opposite the small leg. 60 degrees is opening up and making the big leg. So the missing thing is NO there. That's the hypotenuse. So I know 8 times 2 is going to give me 16. And the last problem here, we're starting off with the big leg. And this is the hardest thing that the Khan Academies are going to have you do. I need to divide that by root 3. So 6 divided by root 3, I go down. That answer choice is not there. So there's something called rationalizing the denominator. And essentially, what you need to do on paper is 6 divided by root 3, and then multiply top and bottom by root 3. What that does in the bottom, root 3 times root 3, ends up being just 3. So you got 6 divided by 3, which is 2. So this small leg is 2 root 3. And then 2 root 3 times 2 is going to give me 4 root 3. And real quick, just to kind of confirm things here, 4, I want to do 3 square root times 4, and that's going to give me 6.92. 6.92 is something bigger than 6. That hypotenuse has to be bigger here. So that answer ends up being correct. One other option you have is to do 6 divided by root 3 on a calculator. That's going to give you some sort of decimal. And then if you multiply that by 2, that's going to match up with the 6.93 that you have here. Hope that helps. As always, and quiz week, a try.